there's a man over there into the music scene, showing lots of love for the community with great advice. I know who I should go see. So all around town radio show, that's where I go for the latest band info. So all around town radio show for the music that comforts my soul. It's the All Around Town Radio Show. The All Around Town Radio.
Hey everybody, welcome to the program. We are awaiting Ceris to join us. She's having some technical issues. We'll see if it happens here.
Coming for you. Speaking with the fans, sometimes they don't show well. Whatever, man. Well, coming, who's playing out off the open jam with the who's who of talent? Come Friday night, ready to race on hell. With all around, you know I'm planning to do it well. So Town Radio Show. It's where I go for the latest band info. So good. So Town Radio Show. For the music that comforts my soul. It's the All Around Town Radio.
Hey everybody, welcome to the program. Well, we're having a bit of a technical glitch here, getting Ceris on. Maybe there she is. I think she's found her platform. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. A little technical issues on the StreamYard end, I think there. I sent you the link again. Did you use it?
I used the new link. Yeah, it was saying you had to log me in or something. I don't know.
It's weird. I couldn't see you where you normally pop up, and I just bring you on the screen. But you're here now.
Here from like 5. I was like, oh, I'm early.
It never fails, does it? Never fails. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
I am good. We are here. Let me get rid of all these funky text messages.
Tuesday, dude. I'm about done with those motherfuckers.
Cicadas. We have none where I live.
Oh,
none.
You want some?
No.
Are you sure?
They'll probably migrate this way, or they'll come out of the ground up this way soon.
Because you're all in my face. If you want me to collect them for you.
Were you mowing?
No, I've just decided to step outside my house.
Oh, that bad, huh? Are the dogs eating them still?
Yes.
Oh, gross. Gross. Let's see who's here today. Kevin. How are you, Kevin?
Kevin.
Good to see you. Kara's in the house. Hi, Kara.
Hi, Kara.
Gina. Roger. Ed. So wiki.
Hey, Ed.
Happy Cicada Tuesday. I love it. The Wanderers are here. Glenn checking in. How are you? Steve Downing. Greetings, Steve. Greetings, Earthling. How do they do that? I can't do that. Something like that. I don't know. What's going on, Ceris? Anything else besides cicadas? Hi, Tony.
No, not really. Just
Allison Chains is here.
Work and stuff like that. What'd you say about Scotty? I must have missed it.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Hang on. Let me look.
Thank you for the kind words, Scott.
Oh, we were talking about what a performer he is. And by the way, Scotty, that was an epic fall you took there on camera. I had to chuckle, but then I was a little worried about you too.
That's what I was saying to him. We were talking about it after, and I was like, of course I chuckled at first, but then I was like, ooh. But I got to tell you, he handled that like a champ. Like, he handled it like a champ, and I don't know. I think it added to it. And what I said to him is, when we were standing outside, I was waiting for Mark to come because he went to go get the car. I was with Erica and Kevin and everything, and Mark drove. And everybody outside, nobody was talking about the fall. They were just talking about how awesome the show was. So
that's all I've heard is how awesome that show was. And how that had to be so cool for him. I mean, you know, a hometown show like that, just really spectacular. Spectacular. Gina says they have none either. So isn't that weird how they're just in certain sections coming out of the ground? It's weird. Those little creepy devils. Little creepy devils that they are. Ed says they're deafening there. I know. I mean, I stepped out at the Bell and the Bear Thursday night for the jam, and it was like, is somebody running a weed whacker?
Yeah, it sounded like loud. I can hear them.
Yeah, they're buzzing loud. What's up, Bob Klein?
Hi, Bob Klein.
Yeah, I messaged Bob Klein the other day to tell him I was standing in line at the Miamisburg Moose the other night, and I overheard these guys, two guys talking who have houses up at Indian Lake, and they were like, man, this band Rock House was just off the hook, the best band I've ever heard, blah, blah, blah. And it was Bob's band, man. Small world.
I'm in the Bell.
Small world. Gina McCann with me. How are you? John Esper. He says, bring those cicadas up to Columbus. They don't have any. You don't want them. Let's see who else we got before we get started. Leah, we've got a big topic, so we've got to roll here shortly. Toy Hobbs in the house. Megan Miller, thank you for being here. Donnie Wagers. Evelyn Fry is in the house.
Hi, Evelyn.
Everybody's talking about the cicadas. And she found one or two downtown. Ray did. Hi, Emily. I heard you blew the roof off the Sorg too, by the way. Was it a powerful...
That's an understatement.
Was it?
Yeah.
Was she that fantastic?
Yes. That is not an easy song to sing. I remember when Scotty and I were talking about it. He's like, I need somebody who can sing this. I said, I think you need to call Emily. And she blew me away.
She did it.
Oh, disgustingly well.
Erica says she can handle the noise, but the dive bombing is annoying. Yes, no doubt. Hey, what's up, Skip? Thank you. I gotta get to it here, guys. Saying hi to a few more of you there. Kara says 10 minutes south of her. She says all the way to Mason, cicadas everywhere. Let's do a show on cicadas today. That seems to be the hot topic. It is. Everybody's dealing with them. Kevin said she was incredible. There you go. Well, good deal. I am salty. I missed it. I am salty. I missed that show. Donnie Wagers. Lucky in Hamilton. Okay. Well, keep talking about the cicadas, but we're going to talk about something better. How to tactfully let a band member go without it creating a massive blow up.
I don't know who came up with this topic idea, but it's fabulous.
It is fabulous. Fabulous.
Fabulous. It's fabulous. It's fabulous, everybody. Fabulous.
Let me rewind those lips today. Fabulous. Yeah. So we're looking for experience out there today. Please do not use names. Let's leave the names out of it today to protect the innocent or the guilty. And also, it's a sticky little wicket. It is. It's a sticky topic because people are in bands. Sometimes the band doesn't think they're as good as this person may think they are. There's all those things, but there's a lot of reasons for letting somebody go from your band. Main one is not showing up to practice and to put effort into the band. I mean, I've seen that happen so many times. That's probably the number one reason I hear people let somebody go out of a band, besides the ego side of things sometimes that plays into it. But, there's so many factors that go into being a team player in a band. And if you're not a team player and the band wants to have a little intervention with you, you better listen to them because you're liable to be gone soon. If you're not, then what do you think about this, Ceris? It's an interesting topic. It is.
It is. And I don't really have much to say about it because I've never had to kick anybody out of my band because I don't have a band. But I have seen the aftermath of it. And I always find it extremely interesting that the person that gets kicked out almost 99.999% of the time always says, oh, well, it had nothing to do with me. It was them.
Yeah. And
narcissist doesn't know they're a narcissist. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not saying that's what they are, but I'm just saying, like, No.
There's a big difference too in the corporate world. If you work in the corporate world, or I worked in municipal government for years, we had strict rules on how we could hire and fire and do all that. And I mean, you had to document to the death to fire somebody basically in the public sector. But I think in a band, oftentimes, and I'll probably get some flack for saying this, but some of the folks in the band, if they've been a career musician, they've never experienced having to fire someone or whatever. And, you know, like in a business where they're running a business and you have to let somebody go and you have to do it in a manner that's polite and all that. So, yeah, it's the band world is different because it's not only your bandmate, but they're usually your friends. I mean, hopefully they're your friends.
Hopefully. I like Bob Klein's idea. Do an intervention style. I'm not mad at you. You have hurt me in the following ways.
I think that's right, Bob.
I think it's right too.
And I think you give people a chance to turn things around. You have to tell them if they're not fitting the mold of your band. That's the first thing that helps with this whole process. John Bolio says, sounds like great. No, they just fire you, John, for no reason. That's what radio does. That's corporate radio, man. They have. I once talked to, and I'm going to laugh. I talked to a local personality in Cincinnati who works not for Clear Channel, who's known for firing people, but worked for another that starts with a C, big conglomerate in radio. And the comment of this DJ was, well, we're a little nicer in our corporate world. We don't fire people on Christmas and their birthday. So it happens. People get fired in radio. John Bolio can attest to that. Can't you, buddy? Ed says, seriously, it depends on the reason. It should be told directly, openly, and honestly. Yeah, I agree. I've got a top 10, by the way, of reasons to let somebody go from your band.
Oh, let's hear them. I like that, Scotty.
I do. What's Scotty Bratcher saying here?
Treat it like it just become completely unbearable until they leave.
Yeah. Because it can be a nasty divorce. I've seen it with band members that then they go on a tirade and their wife goes on a tirade and her husband, and they're all out there on social media tearing up the band for letting them go. And that can be bad for everyone. It can drop their gear off on their porch and ding dong ditch them. Will Bell, you're nasty, Will. You are.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
Connie said Clear Channel fired her. Yeah, well, you're not the first, won't be the last, Connie. Carla, hey, how are you?
Hey, Sean Carla.
Cooper. The Coop is here. And,
hey, Sean.
Wow. So let me give you my potential. Let's talk about potential reasons to fire a band member. I've got a top 10. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Number 1. Or let's go backwards. Number 10, your band is their side project.
I hate that fucking word.
But you know it happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I had a business partner that thought of that, of a business. Yeah.
Number 9, they have a change in circumstances. Maybe they're homeless or they move in with a new love interest and that doesn't fit the band. Number 8, creative differences with the rest of the band. Like I want to play reggae and you want to play heavy metal, that kind of stuff. Let's see. Number 7, not good enough musically. Go figure. Number 6, their general behavior is just an issue, period, everywhere you go. That can be a big problem.
There's a lot of that.
A lot of behavior, which leads into number 5, drug and drinking problems.
There's a lot of that.
A lot of that. Number 4, they don't learn the songs you want to add to your set list properly.
There's a lot of that.
Number 3, they never seem to have time to commit to the band. There's a lot of that.
There's a lot of that.
And number 2, they don't look after the band's equipment or assist in moving and loading equipment, which is a big factor because everybody needs to pitch in on that. And number 1, the number 1, if I had a drum roll, I'd roll it. I do have a drum roll. Maybe I do. Do we really care? Not really, but let's do a drum roll. There we go. And the number 1 on the list is they don't show up for band practice.
Oh, yeah.
That was one we mentioned earlier. But yeah. So there's my top 10. Anybody have any more out there you want to add to the list? I think you do. I'm trying to look at all the comments here.
Yeah, I'm waiting for, I think people are scared. Are you guys a little worried about discussing it?
I'm just going to say, when I posted this morning, I had no less than 10 Facebook Messenger messages saying, "Oh, I've got a lot to say about that."
I bet.
Say it. Say it. Say it, people. Say it.
I
Go
think
ahead.
you're spot on though with those, as Cody mentioned. Number 11, they wear flip-flops on stage.
Or cargo shorts with Bob Klein, and he lassos their ankles. He doesn't like cargo shorts. He doesn't. Let's see. The assist in loading and moving equipment is huge. It is.
Yeah.
Hey, Cody, what's going on, buddy? Thank you for that. Spot on top 10. I could probably go a top 20 on this, but I tried to condense it down. Let's see. Scotty Bratcher, number 11. They wear flip-flops. Yes. Greetings, Dave. Dave is
Minnesota,
in Minnesota. Let's see. Eric says very valid. Okay. Don't match the band on a personal level. Yeah. I mean, there's obviously, let's do the extreme here. If you're in a church band, let's say a Christian rock band, and this guy is a drug abusing, womanizing, whatever, it doesn't fit the mold of the band. He may be the best player and singer ever, but you got to match the mold of the band, people. You really do. And those things happen.
Tim and Megan have two very nice, good things to say. And then I'm going to roll that up into one very important word that I think is the demise of almost any type of relationship. Tim's like communication is almost always the downfall of most bands and businesses. Spot on. Megan Miller making the same mistakes over and over and over and not fixing them. Spot on. It's like just not caring. The word expectations. Expectations in general are a killer for, why do I look like I have the worst bags under my eyes? Expectations in general are a killer for all types of relationships. Having them without the communication is almost like you're setting yourself up for failure. You're setting the relationship up for failure. You're setting it all up for failure. Your expectations are yours and yours alone. And to have that, like when somebody doesn't live up to that, sometimes people get all up in their whatever because there's zero communication. So Tim, I'm with you on that. 100%.
Yeah. Communications is the key to everything in every aspect of life. And I found in my line of work for years, if you communicated with an employee and you told them the expectations you have for them, they oftentimes work to reach those expectations. But if you never told them, then they're never going to make it to that point. And that's valid. Hi, my Aunt Elaine is on here. Hi, Auntie Elaine. Thank you for being with me.
That's a big one, Ray. I agree with that. You can have great musical ability, but not be entertaining on stage and can be a problem. I agree with that. We talked about that, I think, last week.
We did.
Great band, but one of their band members is so freaking boring on stage. You're just like, is this ever going to end? Like,
getting kicked out of the bar on the first gig, that'll get you fired every time. Had to fire our singer on his first gig. Wow. That's a great way to make a lasting impression on somebody, I guess. And Ray, I couldn't agree more with your comment. I think that's perfect because, like I said, you can be the best musically in the world, but if you're not a fit or you're not, this band's a party band and you're like the sleeper hold up there, it's just not going to work. See what Emily has to say. She got a lot to say.
And she's right. That's what it is. It's the side gig mentality. It's the half-assing it. Don't do anything half-assed. Don't call anything a side gig. When you call something a side gig, you're treating it like a side gig, and nobody wants to work with somebody who treats it like a side gig, because that means they're not giving it their all. If you're not willing to give something your all, then fuck off. I don't want to work with you.
Damn.
No?
Damn.
Sorry. I had bad experience with that.
Well, I agree. And there's so many people now who have branched out, and many of them do it well. They're in 3 or 4 projects, and they manage it well. They manage the schedule well and do it right.
Yeah, and they treat them all equal because they're each before. It doesn't matter. It should all matter. Don't do something and not care. Like, don't ever do something and not care as you did something else. That's automatically a fail. Like, you're automatically setting it up for disaster, and you're not thinking of the other people involved.
Matt Anderson, don't date the singer. I love it.
Just marry them.
Yeah, just marry them. It's easier that way. Hi, Dorothy. What? None in Westchester yet. What? Oh, cicadas. I think Dorothy's saying there. She's talking about cicadas still. All right. So I want to say this. Everybody I've ever talked to that's had to let somebody go in their band has used words like it's very awkward, it's emotionally taxing to do, and overall a situation nobody wants to have to deal with. So how do you then do that Bob Klein intervention, folks that are out there? How do you do that Bob Klein intervention he talked about and correct behaviors so that maybe you don't have to fire this individual? Or do you just say, cut your losses and get it over with? I mean, I don't know. I've never had that experience in a band. I've had to let employees go, and every time I did, it was heartbreaking.
And I get so sad when I have to let an employee go.
Yeah, even if they've done something that you just absolutely have a big, terrible taste in your mouth about, it is one of the hardest things you ever have to do because you're breaking somebody's spirit. You really are. It's a hard thing to do.
Absolutely.
So let's look at a few more. Bob says, when all else fails, it's not you, it's me. Bob. And Dave said, not being entertaining on stage is coachable, but if someone doesn't respond to coaching, it's a fireable offense. Yeah, well, that's that way in every business.
I also feel like that has to be recognized. Like, people need to the band members need to pay attention to that too, the other band members.
And I agree, Ray. Not having the drive to get better is another thing, because every band wants to improve and get better over time and be more marketable. And if you've got one person in the band who's just like making it their, are we keeping you up? Yes. Making it their side piece, so to speak. That's what's happening. I mean, and we've got people that fill in. I mean, and that, I don't expect a fill-in person to take on the personality and the makeup of the band. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about somebody that gets added to a band that is just not necessarily the fit. And I will use like Tim Anderson band. Let's talk about the Whammies for a minute. That is a party band. If you're not a party person on that stage, then you're going to stand out like a sore thumb. You are. Yeah. It's going to, you got to fit the mold. But there are so many characters, and I've seen bands get along for years, and then all of a sudden somebody has that change in circumstance, as we said in there, like in rule number 9, the change in circumstance where something changes in their life, or they get that little person on their shoulder, which is probably their new girlfriend, who's saying, boy, these guys are screwing you, man. And then all of a sudden they become a different person in the band. And how many times have we seen that? Lots.
I like that, Ray. That's good. I like that.
Yes, that was good, Ray. Thank you for that.
She took a vocal coach lesson yesterday. She's going to continue. I think that's excellent. I think you should always work on your craft. So I still take classes, every day. I, read books. I don't think you should ever be done learning.
Tim Butterfield throwing in there about he's putting a show together for August 16th. The bands already think I'm insane with the level of communication, but communication is the key to making it work. And if it doesn't, then shame on you and shame on the rest of the band for that. I got to get to some more comments here, Karis. Let's look at them here if we can. Yeah, if someone's given him.
The whole half-ass thing is utterly disrespectful and is just, I don't mean to, like, I struggled with that for almost 2 years with a poor choice that I made of a business partner. And I mean, in the end, it just destroyed the business, right? Because if somebody's not willing to give 100%, then you're never going to get 100% out of it. So you can't sustain a business with half-assing it. And if it's just disrespectful.
And let me add to that, because everyone has a bad day.
Oh, okay? Absolutely.
And what I've seen in the band world is band members who pick that person up when they're having a bad day and help them and see them through that bad day or whatever it is when they're on stage. But you can't have a bad day every day. You can't, can't be pissy. Hang on, let me get to it here. Thank you, Eric, for that.
A lot of people do that, and she said,
"Is that it?
Don't treat a low turnout as a paid practice. Still put on the same." Absolutely.
Hell
Absolutely.
Yes. And by the way, Bronson, I did not miss your comment earlier. He said showing up drunk or something to practice is that okay? If the whole band's drunk, then yeah, it is. Because I mean, you're fit the mold of the band, so I think you could probably say that's okay, as long as your band doesn't have any problem with it. Ed spends a couple of hours a day working on photography techniques. Yeah, I'm always looking for ways we can improve what we're doing here and the platform we're on and graphics. And, Karis, you spend a lot of time doing that too, on ads and graphics and all those things. I was looking at your business card the other day, by the way. It looks great. And it's one of those things that it takes time to say, oh, I don't like that. I like that. I do that. I don't. It's the same way in a band. And you've got to have an open mind to the rest of your bandmates who are saying things. If you're a solo act, then it's only you. I mean, right. It's your fault if something goes bad, if you don't present on stage. You're not affecting anybody else. But when you're in a band, there's an odd that the band's going to, I hate the term gang up, but they're going to join together and say, you're out.
Yep.
You're out. You're out. And Kevin says, put 100% into anything you do. I agree.
I agree with that.
What else we got here? There are so many comments flying here. If you see one that is worthy, Bob Klein's got a good one here.
That's a good, I do that too, Connie. She said, I tell people to spend time working on my business as well as in my business, 100%.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's deep. It is.
True though.
Bronson said we had to release a guy a while back. I like the term release.
I don't like that either, Bob.
I like the term release. Said we love the dude, but it wasn't working. Wow. Yeah, a little severance package never hurt, but sometimes that works and sometimes that doesn't, to keep people from doing stuff. I mean, there's great ways with severance packages too to put in writing that they will not bash you or do anything and those kind of things in that case. But Megan, carrying someone else is annoying. It's like doing a group project in school. And yeah, exactly. Exactly. So how to fire someone from your band. I've got another list. Are you ready?
Yeah.
But this is the way I think it should go, because you have to give them a chance first to turn things around. You have to tell them your expectations, as you said earlier, Karis, and you have to let them know what's expected of them in the band. Right. Then you have to call a one-on-one meeting with the band and them, and you have to chat it out. And sometimes those become yelling matches. We know that. And then the other thing is to look at them and say, how do you feel it's going? I think that's one thing I always ask employees. How do you think you're doing for us here? And many times they'd look at me and say, well, you're probably not doing the best job.
I have something similar I ask.
What do you ask?
I say, if you owned your own business and you had an employee like you, what would you do?
Good question. What's their usual response? Do they ever say fire them?
No, they just get quiet.
Yeah. That's kind of what happens when you say, how do you think it's going?
Hired somebody who was basically in control of making you money, and this person was quite literally helping you lose money, what would you do? Would you keep them on the payroll?
Interesting. And I think the other thing too, if you go into a meeting with somebody, especially in your band, and you're looking to make a change or you're looking to correct behavior, you've got to be prepared as a band. You've got to write down your grievances. You've got to have them ready to go. And you want to do that ahead of time so you don't miss anything, for one, but you also want to do it ahead of time so you look prepared, and it's not just some sort of an attitude or a yelling match. You got to take emotion out of this.
Yeah.
Okay. And I pulled something off a thing I had for line level supervisors, and it was like, in a polite, diplomatic, and business-like manner, have a conversation with somebody. Not a, you pissed me off today, that kind of stuff with poking them in the chest or your finger at them and all
right.
that never works.
No.
Okay. And if you let your emotions get involved and you're angry, upset, that meeting's going to go south in a hurry.
Yeah.
It really is.
I think the best way to do it is ask them the questions as if they were in charge. Like, what would you do?
And you know what I think too, is if you're not professional, it can really hurt you later.
Absolutely.
That's where somebody walks out, slams the door, and says, F you guys, I never want to see this band again. And then all of a sudden, here comes keyboard warriors.
Yeah.
And they rally up their troops to say, I can't believe you fired this guy. He was the only reason your band had anybody coming to your shows. And how many times have we seen all that online? Take sides. People take sides, don't they?
There's a person that obviously will remain nameless, but he is very well known on the social webs for bad mouthing everybody else and taking zero responsibility for usually his actions, which was usually why most people don't want to work with him. And then he calling them out on the social media and then blocking them because he's a coward, because then they start speaking the truth and calling him out. So then he blocks them. But he's constantly bad mouthing these other musicians because they spoke their truth. It's just, I don't know how people keep hiring this guy. This is why social media is so important. And I like to look at everybody's social media before I bring them on board.
Bob Sullivan, that's a great statement. And I should have added that as number 11 on my list of reasons somebody should get fired from a band. And that is if you don't support other musicians. If you're one of those musicians who thinks that you are the only person ever, I think that's a great statement there you made about that. And, to make themselves feel better, they bash other musicians or diss them and whatever you said in that. I think that's perfect, because I'd get rid of them too if they were in my band. You don't want that reputation.
Yeah.
How many times have we talked about bands on this show, Ceris, where we say they never go out, they never see anybody else, they judge,
Yeah.
It's like,
Rick, I need to know who that was.
Hold on, I'm getting there.
I need to know who that was.
Tim Butterfield says there are 52 weeks in a year, and one person in the band can only play 10 of them, makes scheduling a little difficult. Absolutely. Yeah, and that's where they're not a fit either. They're not a fit in the band. But can you actually fire somebody in your band and do it diplomatically without it causing drama? That's the question I'm asking the musicians today. And if you've ever had the experience where that's happened, please let us know. We want to hear about it.
Thanks, Bob.
Yeah, what do we got? Okay. I'm trying to see, I'm missing all these comments.
Well, Bob or Rick, you got to let me know who this person is, because I have got to know. Yeah. Thanks, Bob. That's usually, and you know what? So when I get complaints about employees, I write them down. And then, I give everybody warnings or whatever, yada, yada, yada. And then I had to have a sit down with one of my employees, and I had a list of all the complaints that were about this one employee. I've had to also take this one employee off working certain shifts because people wouldn't come in. Then I had that list, and then I had a list of all the complaints I get from for all of the other employees combined. And I handed her both lists, or him. I handed them, whether it was a her or a him, doesn't matter. And that person's list had about 14 or 15 complaints, different complaints. And then for the entire rest of the staff, there was like 4 combined. And I handed them the list. And I said, why? Like, what would you do if you had an employee who was just given you just gave this employee a list of all the 15 different complaints that you've had on them multiple times. And then you looked at the other employees combined. What would you do? Are they making you money, or are they costing you money? Do you have kids? Do you want to, what would you do? Come on now.
And I don't disagree with you in the least. It's funny though, the different worlds out there, because in my world, in the municipality world, I work for a dreaded 2-letter word called human resources.
Right.
And the HR team wouldn't let me ask that question you ask. They said that was forbidden.
Yeah.
Because that's where the lawyers get involved and all those things with things like that. And everybody's a potential lawsuit.
Having written evidence as to why?
Oh, no. Asking the question, what would you do if you were in my shoes? They wouldn't let us use that question, and you had an employee like you. And that they felt that was way too, we've gotten very sensitive. I'll just say that.
Oh, gotcha.
Part of the reason I retired. All right, let's keep moving. What else we got here? Got some good stuff coming in. Drama boils down to personality types. It does. What's Chad Applehead got to say? He's always got something good to say. It's pretty rare that someone is surprised you're late. I agree, Chad. They know. They're just waiting on the hammer to drop sometimes, I think, and milking it for all they can do.
But they like to pretend that it's a surprise. Me? I didn't do anything. You guys don't understand. I'm going through a really hard time. You're not being sympathetic to my feelings. I have so much trauma.
Oh, ouch. Ouch. Hate it when that happens. Sorry. Was that insensitive? It probably was. Oh, well. Aaron Thomas says everyone is replaceable. I disagree with that.
I disagree, but I understand why he said that.
I do too, but I will say the reason I disagree with that is you are replaceable when you don't try to correct behaviors that you've been told to correct. And yes, I agree. I mean, anybody could step into anybody's role at any time and be replaced. Mean
they'll be good at it, but yeah, they can.
Yeah. I mean, I know what you're saying, Aaron, but I always kept that mold in my head as a supervisory person to say, I don't want to have to replace you. We've invested a lot of time, money, and effort in you,
Yeah.
And I just, yeah. But, in a band, let's face it, there are some great guitar players out there.
There are really good guitar players out there.
Yeah. But can you be replaced by somebody that's equally as good? Probably so.
So, Bob, you need to text me and tell me, or Rick, you need to tell me, because my nosiness cannot handle this any longer. I'm way too nosy not to know.
Wow. Back to my how to fire someone.
Oh, yeah.
When you ask them, what can you do to improve? I think that's a big thing, too, in the band. Maybe I can come to practice and learn the songs. That's the number one. That seems to be a problem.
Do you think, I have a question to that. Do you think as an adult playing in a band, I think, and another adult says to you, well, what do you think you could do to, do you think they would find that, condescending, or dude, this is, you know what I mean? I agree with you, but I'm wondering how they would take that.
No, I think they'd find it very condescending. But
Yeah.
it's also interesting when you have a 5-piece band and you got one wild card that's causing a problem, and the rest of the 4 are sitting there saying the same thing. It's a little harder to defend, I think, or they'll just say, "Oh, you're ganging up on me," and throw a fit. That happens. But there's a lot of people on here who have been through band breakups today and are very reluctant to talk about it. I can tell.
Yeah, I'm noticing that too.
Because we know you all, and we know who you've made up and broken up with.
Oh, I don't.
Being in a band is like a family. Families have breakups. They do. I mean, it happens. So it's band family. And if you're not a family in the band, if it's just you walk in, step on stage, play, and leave and never talk to those people again until the next show, that's pretty cold and almost too business-like for me. That's Scott's opinion only, though. Hi, Dirk. Watching from Chicago. Thank you. Come on, throw us some more comments, folks. We got a couple more minutes here. We want to hear from you. Interesting topic today. Thank you for our viewer-submitted topic. We do appreciate that very much. Get that off the bottom of the screen there for a minute. So let's see what else we can get comment-wise. Anybody else have something that they want to add?
We deal a lot with somebody with nope, can't say that.
You got to really watch your words, don't you?
Yeah. Pass. I'm going to pass. Never mind.
Pass?
I'm going to pass.
You don't get that option today.
We
come on.
That constantly, actually never, maybe a very small percentage of the time will take the effort to learn songs. And then when they get that, I'm going to pass.
Okay. Shouldn't have to tell your band members to learn parts. The way you do anything is the way you do everything. Thank you, Bronson.
If you have to tell a fellow band member, if a fellow band member is not taking the time to learn a song, not just once, not just twice, not just 3 times, not just 100 times, not just 200 times, that's a problem.
And I will say, in the history of our 111 episodes, I've never heard you pass.
Well, it's just far too obvious, and I can't.
Too close to home and sensitive.
Too close, and I can't.
And Carla says she's passing.
Unprofessional of me, and I will
yes, not. I got you.
How about when a band member leaves, quit messaging the band page and asking what happened? Not your business.
Well, you're talking about
what?
Band followers that are messaging the band page saying, why did this person leave or what happened? Yeah, that may not be their business, but if they followed your band for a long time, there's been a lot of big bands that have changed membership. And it's interesting that, the problem is, I think you need to be very forward with it and say, we parted our ways for this. You don't have to give details, but we've parted our ways or whatever, because the rumor mill that goes on at the lower level below the band page out in the bars and things can become worse than the situation itself. I'm just going to say that.
Who is this well-known abusive guitar player? Who?
We probably should not say on the show. I'm already taking enough crap. I don't need more.
No, don't say it on the show. Just somebody message me.
This is you're like you're in junior high. Pass the note quick.
Yes, I'm very nosy.
Yes, pass the note quick. What's Don Alt got to say?
I think I'll
just to fire players from bands. Just pay me a small fee and I'll tell them they're out like 2 pops. That's funny. David Linda, how are you, buddy?
Thank you. Rick, I want to know who that person is.
Oh my goodness. Rick Piper is on a roll.
No, why have you not sent me anything yet?
All right, I'm gonna ask too. Please send it to me.
Please, I have to know who these people are.
Mercy. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Karis, you employ a band every Thursday, right? The house band.
Mm-hmm.
How do you, after so many years of that, have you guys ever had I know you have a house band like text group where you bounce things off songs and stuff off each other and all that, but have you ever had to have kind of an intervention and sit down with that band and say, this is the direction we need to go with it or anything? I mean, not in a negative way, but you've had to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's business. It is. And it's your business, and you're employing this band, and a weekly band is a whole lot different than somebody that plays every 6 months.
Yeah.
That's a big difference because they then tend to be very comfortable.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, they are.
Yes.
I find that a challenge for you. I mean, I do, because different times a year that band needs to be on a different game level, and that's interesting. Like this time of year, man, you got to be on your game because you're competing with all that other crap out there.
Yep.
And when I say crap, don't get me wrong, all the festivals and
there's a lot,
but it becomes 50 gigs on a Saturday night versus in the winter there might be 10 that are competing for your customers. So And people like those outdoor events. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I like the outdoor events, and they're fun to go to and all that. But interesting. Chris Reese has something here. He says letting someone go from band's never easy. Yeah, I think professional is the way. And as I said earlier, if you're not professional, it will come back to haunt you. And sometimes it's just inevitable because somebody leaves the band because they're pissed and all that. And I mean, gosh, I watched somebody's wife just berate a band not too long ago online. She was just relentless about them parting ways with somebody, and she's not even a member of the band. I mean, she's just, I don't know, trying to get affection for it or something. I don't know. It is embarrassing. It really is. All right, we are about out of time. I think we're done with this topic today. Let's see. I got a couple more comments here. Billy said the 2 changes we made over the years and mutual separation, we've been pretty lucky. Yeah. And if you can all come up with it's the term, a disillusion versus a divorce, a better way to say it, that's probably a good thing you can do. I mean, it's the way to go if you can. And
I've loved that movie, Chris. That's a great movie.
So if members of your band aren't pulling in the same direction, it can make an uphill battle pretty difficult, people. So please realize that you need to do it quicker than until it becomes a problem. I mean, nip it in the bud quick if you can, and try to have the talk with somebody, and maybe they'll change direction.
Yeah.
And that's the way it works. And are you getting texts?
No, I'm waiting for somebody.
I haven't either. I'm waiting on Rick too. Well, that's all we got today. What do you got going at the bar this weekend?
So Gina and Johnny are going a week early tomorrow. So their duo is playing. It should be a really fun night. Thursday we jam. On Friday we have Willie Phoenix and his band from Columbus coming down. Man, he is
so good.
So good. He's just one of my favorites. I just love watching him. And then Saturday we have Top This Band, which again is one of my favorites. God, they're fun.
Yeah, they are.
Oh.
Chad, if you're on a cruise ship band, you just make them walk the plank. Chad, you're not right, man. You are not right. Thank you, Carla, for that. Brad, thank you. Brad wants to know what your number is. Let's not give that over the air, please.
I'm not going to give that over. But send me Messenger.
It says Willie is fantastic. And
I know. Doesn't she look cute, Kara? You should have seen her today. She just loves the water.
She goes swimming?
Yeah, she loves to swim. She went swimming. We went to Steve and Chantel's with Kevin, and she loved it. She loves it.
Perfect. That's awesome. That is awesome. Thank you, Ed Sawicki. Brett Brock, thank you for being here. Says you're always the guy that does the firing. We always take a vote on the wayward son. Then I get to be the bad guy. Well, somebody's got to be the bad guy. That's right. Karis's number is 513-867-5309. Dial now. Operators are standing by.
Right.
Right. Thank you, John Marshall, Gina, and Johnny tomorrow there. Hey, I'll be at the Miamisburg Moose tonight hosting the new Tuesday trivia there. Lots of fun. And Wednesday night on the patio at Heather's, one of my favorite nights of the week. And that is Name That Tune. If you haven't played yet, get down there and play, Karis. And yes, I'm going to keep saying that till she shows up one night. For real. What's that?
At the Moose or Heather's?
Heather's.
I'll show up.
Heather's. You don't have the Moose thing.
I'll show up.
Okay.
We'll get a crew together. I had to miss the last one because I had Scotty and Danny there.
I know. You had a big show.
Yeah.
So we'll pull it off. But Bob says Willie is on fire. Connie says, gotta work tomorrow night. I'm crying. Maybe they will cancel her class. There we go. So thank you guys. We appreciate your input. You guys are wonderful. By the way, Connie, great socks that I posted the pictures of. I'll just leave it at that. Yeah.
Chad Applegate.
Don't call her. It's $5.99 a minute. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
She can put on the sexy voice. She can. Thank you so much, everybody. Love y'all. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Hey, Crown Watts on the show at noon tomorrow. Join me tomorrow, noon.
Nice.
Actually, Billy Watts, I should say.
Okay, yeah.
Billy Rock and Crown Watts joining me tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun at noon. Join us for that. Talk about a show they're doing, and we'll see you next time here at All Around Town Radio. Adlib, Karis, I'm trying to get the theme song up. There we go. Bye.
Adlib.
Adlib.
Bye.
Bye.
Do the opinions thing. Do the opinions thing. I can read the opinions. The disclaimer.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Hang on.
Okay.
Here it comes.
Disclaimer, the views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of our sponsors or any entities they represent.
Yeah, I know where to go.
Oh, my God.
There's a man over there.
Into the music scene. Look at that picture right there.
Scene.
You love that picture? Yes.
Like, that's not bad.
For the community with great
I like that one.
I do.
Yes. You
I
hate
like
this one.
the new one of us.
What's that?
There's a couple of new ones that I like of us.
Yeah, we need to redo these things.
Yeah.
We do.
I like the ones of us staring at the bubbles.
Show. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye for now.